In the summer of 1967, during the height of the space race, NASA launched the Odyssey station, an experimental research facility meant to orbit just beyond Earth's atmosphere. Though publicly labeled as a scientific endeavor, declassified documents later hinted that its true purpose was far darker, a covert military experiment involving classified biological research. What followed remains one of the most disturbing, unsolved mysteries in history, buried deep in government vaults. The Odyssey had been operating for 6 months when all contact was suddenly lost. Official reports claimed a technical malfunction, but insiders whispered about a frantic series of distorted transmissions. These were received just hours before the blackout. Static-laden screams, whispers in an unknown language, and a chilling phrase repeated over and over, "It's awake, we can't stop it." These tapes were classified within hours. Months later, the government quietly authorized a recovery mission. A team of 5 elite astronauts, handpicked for their skill in silence, boarded a modified Apollo spacecraft to investigate the station. Led by Commander Jack Reynolds, the team was told nothing beyond restore contact and assess threats. What they found was far worse than they could have prepared for. Upon docking, the Odyssey was eerily intact. From the outside, there were no visible signs of damage. Inside, the air was cold and still, as if the station had been abandoned for years. The crew moved cautiously, their flashlights slicing through the thick shadows of the corridors. Personal belongings were left scattered, half-eaten meals, overturned chairs, and hastily scrawled notes. But there was no sign of the 15 scientists who had once called the Odyssey home. In the control room, engineer Charles Hartley found something chilling, a bloodied handprint smeared across the main console. "Whatever happened here," he muttered, "it wasn't quick." But the most unnerving discovery was in the crew's quarters, where biologist Linda Carter stumbled upon a journal. Its pages were filled with frantic handwriting detailing strange occurrences, unexplainable noises, shadows moving where none should exist, and an increasing sense of dread among the crew. The final entry simply read, "We were wrong, it's not human." As they ventured deeper into the station, the team's radios began to fail. Static overtook their communication, and a low, guttural hum seemed to emanate from the walls. Then they found the containment chamber. The chamber was designed to hold something, a life form. But whatever had been there was gone now. The reinforced glass was shattered from the inside. Around the chamber lay signs of a violent struggle. Blood, torn fabric, and deep claw-like marks etched into the walls. "This wasn't an escape," Reynolds whispered. "This was a massacre." Before they could react, the lights flickered and died, plunging the station into complete darkness. The hum grew louder, almost deafening, and a cold, otherworldly voice echoed through the corridors. "You shouldn't have come. What happened next remains classified." Decades later, conspiracy theorists point to documents that suggest the Odyssey recovery team never returned to Earth, or at least not as themselves. NASA denies the mission ever occurred, and any mention of the Odyssey's true fate is met with silence. But some believe the entity that escaped that day never left. They claim to hear the hum in their dreams, growing louder each year. Don't forget to subscribe for more bone-chilling tales. Follow us, because the darkness holds secrets you won't want to uncover until it's too late.